There are moments when life stands still, when pain, fear, and hopelessness crowd out every ounce of strength you have left. That was Leslie Mthembu's reality. She was only 38. A wife. A teacher. A mother of 2. Her life in Durban, South Africa, had once been vibrant, filled with laughter, family dinners, school children's giggles, and the steady rhythm of routine. Until the pain began. It started as a dull ache in her leg, something she thought would pass. But the pain worsened rapidly. Within weeks, her leg swelled and began to lose mobility. Her doctors were concerned. Tests were ordered. Then came the crushing diagnosis: osteosarcoma, a rare, aggressive bone cancer. It's too late. Leslie underwent multiple treatments, rounds of chemotherapy, radiation, dietary changes, every possible strategy, but the tumor only grew. The cancer devoured the bone and tissue in her leg. Her skin turned gray, almost black in places. She could no longer walk. The doctors recommended amputation. But by then, the cancer had already spread into her bloodstream. They looked her in the eye and said what no one ever wants to hear. "We're sorry. We'll do what we can to keep you comfortable, but there's nothing else we can do." Leslie was devastated. Her body was weak. Her soul even weaker. The painkillers barely touched the agony. She stopped making future plans. She began preparing to die. In quiet moments, she wrote letters to her children, words she hoped they would hold on to after she was gone. A whisper from Gekebeha. But God had not written the final chapter. Over 500 kilometers away, in the coastal city of Gekebeha, another woman was praying. Katryn Khuman, a woman known not for showmanship, but for the unmistakable presence of God that surrounded her life, was preparing for a small worship gathering. Katryn wasn't a celebrity. She didn't travel with a media team or a flashy entourage. She wasn't trying to go viral. But people came, from towns, villages, cities, because wherever she went, miracles followed. Not because of her, but because she carried a fierce faith, the kind of faith that believed every word Jesus said was still true today. When Leslie's cousin saw a clip of Katryn praying over someone, something stirred in her heart. A crazy idea. A sliver of hope. Let's take Leslie there. Leslie didn't want to go. She couldn't sit long. She couldn't walk. She was in unbearable pain. But something, perhaps desperation, perhaps divine pull, convinced her to say yes. It took hours to transport her. She had to be carried into the meeting, her leg wrapped and discolored, her face pale with exhaustion. "Jesus! Show them!" The room was thick with worship. No lights, no smoke machines, just raw voices crying out to heaven. Some were kneeling. Some were weeping. Some were just silent, still. Katryn walked slowly through the rows. She paused often, whispering prayers. And then she stopped beside Leslie. No one introduced her. No one gave backstory. But Katryn knelt. She looked at Leslie and whispered one sentence. "Jesus, show them you." Then she laid her hand gently on Leslie's shoulder and began to pray. The impossible moment. It was instant. Leslie later described it as a bolt of lightning running from the top of her head down through her spine and into her leg. She screamed, not from pain, but from power. A burning sensation flooded her body, especially her leg. It wasn't warm, it was fire. It was life. Everyone stopped. They watched as the leg, once limp and dark, began to move. The swelling began to shrink right before their eyes. The veins no longer bulged. The skin changed color, from gray to flushed pink. The disfigurement faded. Leslie's eyes filled with tears. Then she stood up. The room gasped. She took a step. Then another. Then she ran. Her cousin collapsed to the floor, sobbing. People were shouting, praising, singing. Some knelt in awe. Others couldn't speak. But they all knew one thing. God was in the room. Waves of healing. What happened to Leslie sparked a wildfire. Over the next few days and weeks, testimonies began to flood in. A man with late-stage lung cancer had a clear scan. A little boy with leukemia was suddenly declared cancer-free. A woman who hadn't spoken for 6 years opened her mouth and began to sing during worship. No one could explain it. But Katryn had only one response. This is not me. I can't heal anyone. I just carry his presence. This is Jesus. He gets all the glory. Leslie's new life. Leslie walked her kids to school. She cooked. She teaches. She laughs. Just like before. Her leg is fully restored. Strong. Healthy. Cancer-free. She has kept the old medical scans. The photos. The papers declaring her terminal. Not because she doubts, but because she wants the world to see what God can do. When people ask me what happened, she says with a smile, I don't say the name of a church, or a woman, or a ministry. I just say, Jesus happened. He's still the same. This story isn't just about a miracle. It's about a miracle-working God. A God who still heals. A God who still sees. A God who refuses to let death write the final word. So if you're reading this and wondering if your situation is too far gone, hear this clearly. It's not. God still moves mountains. He still dries tears. He still makes dead things live again. And He's not finished with you. Do you need prayer? Drop a comment or message. We believe with you that Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Share this video for others to see and subscribe for more inspiring moves of God.